Avant garbage.
If I had to defend myself outside your apartment, I'm watching you through your window.
Hey, I noticed you don't seem to be believing all women over there, pal. What's your problem?
Whoa, hey! You know I'm a feminist. I voted for Elizabeth Warren.
Hey,
Whoa.
if you were a real feminist, you would have voted for Hillary Clinton.
Hey, whoa! I thought that Trump cut. All right, in 5, 4. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, those who lie betwixt or outside, to yet another episode of Avant Garbage.
What you guys can't see is he fucked up the countdown.
I did fuck up.
He forgot what came after 3.
I did forget how after 3. The only podcast that stops for about 6 months.
No, it didn't. There was no gap.
Okay, no gap.
They can't prove. No gap has been proven.
Okay. Although it wasn't the fall, it was like that's over 6 months.
Allegations have been made, and we're doing an internal investigation.
Onto why they stopped or didn't stop.
Yeah, if they stopped, first of all, if.
I mean, the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC had to be played.
And we had to do a 5-month preparation period.
Yeah.
With a team of advisors, nutritionists.
Mm-hmm. They advised us to stop the weight cut.
Yeah.
But
we had to make weight for playing Shadow of the Erdtree.
And that was about gaining 5 pounds. Yeah. But we are once again here with another movie. We're the only podcast that can set a record of like 2 movies where there is not explicit sexual violence within the movie.
There's only probably implied sexual violence in this movie, so
don't give away.
Going into our PG era here.
Don't give.
We're going corporate.
Don't give
selling out.
Don't give the game away. Okay.
Okay.
So what film are we talking about today?
I believe we're talking about Paddington 2.
Oh yeah. Made me want to be a better man.
At least that's what Pedro Pascal said.
And I believe everything he said.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't hurt little girls in Dorne. Oh, it's not going to be funny to anyone else.
So fucking bad.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe there's somebody that's found our podcast that hasn't watched Game of Thrones.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Like, what kind of people do you think listen to this show?
Yeah.
You know, there's 20 of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they play Magic the Gathering, they watch Game of Thrones, I think. It's
all
the
right.
kind of audience.
That's fair. But the movie we're actually talking about today is Buffalo 66, written, directed, and starring one Vincent Gallo. Mm-hmm. And if you're a hashtag gamer, you might actually recognize him as the guy from the game Catherine is based on him.
That's the weird Japanese puzzle, dating, and demon video game.
Yeah.
Very weird game.
It's
kind of good, I guess.
Doesn't the lead actress kind of look like one of the Catherine with a K?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, they're cartoons. Everybody all kind of looks like a cartoon.
Everybody kind of looks like someone.
Everybody kind of looks like an abstraction of a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
So I kind of look like Goku.
No.
Oh, okay.
He has a better haircut.
Fuck you. But Buffalo 66, in a nutshell, is that there is a man, an Italian, named Billy Brown.
If you can call them men, you know.
Who has been sent to prison for 5 years. We don't know why at the beginning of the movie. And when he gets out, he is trying to go home and impress his parents, basically. Yeah. And so the film begins with him
having to pee.
And it was actually one of the funniest, opening 20 minutes I've seen, period. Because he gets out of the prison, gets on a Greyhound bus.
Yeah.
He tries to get back into the prison.
To use the bathroom.
And they tell him he can't. So he goes to the bus stop to use the bathroom, but he can't because he'll miss the bus.
Yeah.
Goes to the other bus stop, can't do it.
And then he tries like 4 different stores once he gets in town.
Tries to piss behind a car.
Yeah, but the lady shows up who's in the car.
So he has to move there. And I will note at this point that, once again, this is... the title tells you, but this is also set in Buffalo. 66 is the year that he is born.
Mm-hmm.
Film set in 98. I guess I'd make him 32, so he went away when he was 27. And it captures, like, I've never been to Buffalo. But from what I understand about, like, the East Coast, it does feel like a rundown, like, East Coast town. The city is very well characterized because it's all kind of worn down and, like, depressing.
It feels East Coast.
The fact that everyone's going, ah, whoa, ah.
I mean, to me, it really makes me think of the Midwest.
I guess so.
Because there's so many, like, used to be manufacturing towns.
Yeah,
that are now, like, a stinking shithole.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I'm just thinking of Vincent Gallo and his parents are very East Coast.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Yeah. But you're right. The town itself does feel very, like, Rust Belt.
I'm sure those are all over the country, but I feel like that's the most, like, famous area of the country that has a lot of towns like that.
You can say Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michigan. Iowa, did that happen to Iowa?
No, it's always been agriculture.
Oh, okay.
Gary,
West Virginia with the mining.
Gary, Indiana, the happiest place on earth.
Yeah, where dreams come true.
But I don't even know...
If you're suicidal.
I don't know what... But they stopped murdering people because they ran out.
What are they doing?
Lighting trash cans.
They hanging out at that one ghost house?
Yeah.
That's the 2 things you can do in Gary, Indiana, is take a tour
Mm-hmm.
of a ghost house. And it's a real lame possession.
Yeah.
It's like one girl, 2 guys said she walked on a ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole fucking possession.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's a real lame ass.
I want, like, Michael Jackson to be haunting shit. He's from Gary.
I think he's haunting a lot of young boys.
Well, only in their nightmares.
Well, yeah, he did. I mean, now that would be a good movie. I want to make that, like, a horror movie about Michael Jackson.
Escaping Neverland?
Yeah. And maybe it's like Macaulay Culkin has to go back in to free the other kids.
Who are being kept there by the ghost of Michael Jackson.
Yeah, and he's playing himself.
Well, he's dead.
And then Macaulay Culkin.
Oh, okay.
He's playing himself, but Kevin Spacey's playing Michael Jackson. Because in this universe he didn't die, so he got way whiter as he lived, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then it kind of turns into like a meta commentary on Macaulay Culkin processing getting molested by Michael Jackson.
Despite his refusal.
We're trying to go for an Oscar.
Okay, yeah. I think it's just... Have you noticed that all of your ideas involve molestation, or most of the movies we watch?
Don't look into that.
Okay. Yeah. But Vince Gallo, he tries to piss. He finally goes into a dance studio where they're doing tap dancing.
Was it tap dancing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he goes to the men's bathroom, and when he gets there to the urinal, there's a guy who's just staring at his cock.
Yeah.
And he starts getting, like, jumpy, like, don't look at it, don't look at it. And at first, you're sort of thinking, like, well, just homophobia. Because also...
he just got out of prison.
Also, he just got out of prison.
I imagine you're a little careful in the bathroom.
Yeah, and that is a note to keep for later of sort of sexual trauma, probably. That's within this character.
So if you get your bingo card out, you can fill in the...
Yeah, but at least here it's not spelled out.
Yeah. Because Italians can't spell.
That's the hill you're going to die on?
I'm sorry, have you ever seen an Italian spell a word correctly?
I guess that's fair.
Ristorante? What the fuck is that?
Well, now you're being racist against Spanish people, too, because it's the same word.
No, that's a different language.
Okay.
Italian isn't a real language.
Okay. It's just Latin but bad?
I mean, that's kind of true, right?
Yeah.
Latin's cool, the lawyers use it, you know?
Mm-hmm. The line that's amazing is the guy at the urinal, he's like, don't look at it, he goes, it's just so big.
Yeah. Which is very bold of you as a guy to write, direct, and then act in a movie and have a scene where a guy is so enamored by the size of your penis.
And I do
it's
want
a very interesting move.
I do want to point out how he's dressed for the entire film, which are like super tight pants, these like disco ass red shoes.
They're like Chelsea boots, but they're bright red.
Yeah. And a leather jacket.
And underneath it, he has like a black and white striped tank top that's too short, so he's showing midriff. Mm-hmm. He's dressed like a JoJo character who smoked crack for 10 years and is now washed up. Mm-hmm. You know? So
is what the JoJo guy is going to be making in 5 years?
Yeah.
When he goes through the crack pipe
like
art?
If they had a Logan, like the movie Logan, but for the JoJo characters, that's what he would be dressed like.
So he's still flamboyantly homosexual. He just...
he's old.
Yeah.
And tired of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I just want to applaud obviously being a director, an actor, and a writer was just all about writing a scene where he has an impressively large penis, which is kind of the dream, you know. And it's just to waste a massive amount of money to get
$1.5 million
to pay
is
a
budget for this
wannabe
movie.
union actor to say your penis is really big.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to do research afterwards to see if we can ascertain the size of his dick.
Yeah,
we'll have to drive to his house.
It really, nowadays, it's much easier because you just have Cameo.
Yeah.
Who was that one senator who was, like, subscribing to OnlyFans and now he's on Cameo? But you can get that guy to say your penis is big now.
Yeah.
So we don't really need to make movies anymore, which is probably why the industry is going downhill.
Yeah, so we'll drive to Vincent Gallo's house and ask to respectfully
we can look it up.
See his. Well, I don't know.
Maybe he's posted cock on the internet.
Maybe we'll do this research afterwards.
Yeah.
Comment below if you want to see Vincent Gallo's penis.
Yeah, next episode we'll review his penis.
And he says a bunch of homophobic slurs at the man.
Just the one.
Oh yeah, just the one.
The one many times.
The one many times.
I mean, how many actual slurs are there?
Yeah,
right?
it's fair.
It's just one. I guess fairy.
Yeah.
I feel like it's all words that can be used in an insulting context, but there's only one that's a proper slur.
That's fair. I find most gay euphemisms just like whimsical and funny.
Yeah, I mean, they're all connected to like fantasy.
Yeah.
Which is kind of odd. I don't know how that started.
It just makes it cool, though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I wonder how that started.
They're mad at how fun the gay dudes are having.
That's true.
Hey, he's a little fruity over there.
Some kind of fucking fairy floating around without a care in the world, feeling young and free and happy. Like they're not weighed down by anything. Like they've just got magical fairy dust letting them float wherever they want.
Larry, you can go to the gay bar. We won't
Shut up!
We're really we don't discriminate in this union.
Yeah.
You can go. You can leave your wife.
We had one too many lawsuits. We're pro-gay in the dock workers union now.
Yeah, God, we still haven't gotten past the urinal scene. It's just like 10 minutes.
That's really most of what you have to talk about in the movie, you know? It's the most bold artistic choice.
It is generally one of the like funniest opening 10 to 20 minutes of a movie ever.
Yeah.
Because the real thing is that we were talking about not just because there's Italians, but it's like The Sopranos, where because I had to watch a video essay that talked about this movie. It made me want to watch it. It's talking about how the comedy, where nothing is funny to the characters, like it's all this guy's clearly very broken and fucked up, and he's running around trying to find a place to piss. And the writer isn't writing it in a way where it's like we're intentionally supposed to laugh. It's just so like funny because of how fucked up it is. It becomes that way. And what was your thought about The Sopranos?
Oh yeah, well my point. I think I had seen an interview with the guy David Chase, creator of The Sopranos.
Speaking of miserable people.
Yeah, but he kind of said a similar thing where it's like the idea of that show being funny was to have the people do things that really fit with their character that are funny because those are funny people to exist. You know what I mean? And not convolute the story to make a joke.
Yeah, so everything Vincent... Well, not everything Vincent does makes sense to like a logical person, but it makes sense because he's fucked up, and it's funny that this guy exists.
Yeah, it's
and also kind of sad.
A character that makes sense, that does stuff you can laugh at.
Yeah.
But there's not really jokes written in.
Yeah, exactly. He's pathetic and sad.
Yeah.
And so he's in the dance school.
Hog in hand.
Hog in hand. Zips a hog up.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's walking
Puts
out,
it back in its cage.
mm-hmm, he goes #free the dong.
That's what that movie was about. Free Willy, right?
Yeah. But he goes and there's a payphone, and this is also the trailer for the movie. This scene, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
And you only hear his side of the phone conversation.
Yeah.
But it's fucking amazing. Where you can just like hear the frustration of him trying to explain he's been lying to his parents that he was away for 5 years on a job.
A government job.
A government job. And that he's happily married. And he's staying in a fancy hotel with his wife.
Yeah.
And she starts, and his mother on the other side of the phone, insisting that he brings the wife over to...
Well, she insists that he wakes her up to get
Yeah.
on the phone.
Yeah.
And he, like, claims she's sick.
Yeah. And just a series of just a very crushingly realistic phone argument.
Yeah.
And it's just great because it's one of those things where...
Again, reminding you of The Sopranos with
Yeah.
Tony and his mom.
It's show don't tell this over and over again, but in this case it's literally like we don't need to hear what she's saying.
Yeah.
Because it's just so funny because it's so real, I guess. We're talking about because there's multiple phone calls throughout the movie, and this guy clearly has had a lot of horrible phone calls in his life.
Yeah.
And I generally dislike making phone calls in general. That might just be autism.
I find it better than texting.
Oh,
when you actually need to convey information.
Opposite. I hate it. So autism, but yeah, he's I don't know. It's funny, but one of those just hilarious exchanges. He needs a quarter, and so our female lead who's walking past him, whose name is.
You don't need to say the name because she's not really written as a real character.
Yeah, where did my phone go?
No, we're making an important point.
Yeah.
We're not unprepared.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
We're choosing to make an important point. Which is true.
Layla.
Yeah.
Played by Christina Ricci.
Which I knew, but I was making a choice.
Mm-hmm.
A
choice to disregard Wetman.
Yes. That's technically correct as to what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Can we get that in writing?
Sure. But yeah, anyways, so she's introduced and he kidnaps her. But
well, leading up to that is a pretty funny scene in which he asks if he can borrow a quarter. She like begrudgingly says yes, and then she goes like, "Are you gonna say thank you?" And he goes, "No, no, 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 no," basically. And she goes into the bathroom, which is next to the payphone, while he's having this horrifying conversation with his parents. And they do cut to her in the bathroom, just obviously feeling bad for him. And then, yes, he kidnaps her in the just no gun, no weapon.
Yeah.
He just puts a hand over...
No weapon in his pants.
That's true. But he puts his hand over her mouth and takes her to the car. Doesn't explain what he's doing yet. He gets ready to drive off with her until he realizes that he doesn't know how to drive stick shift.
Yeah, and then she laughs at him and he tries, like, you know why I can't drive stick? Because I drive luxury cars. Have you ever heard of a luxury car?
I heard of a Mercedes.
Yeah.
It's incredibly funny.
Yeah.
And what's great is he makes her go wipe off the window because he's mad at her for her car being dirty. And
it
then
is really dirty.
Yeah, and then has her drive him over towards the parents' house in that direction. And you just immediately start to get a feel, and it's true, there should have been exposition for her character.
Yeah.
But
it never really explains, because my issue with this character is that throughout the movie she does not act how you would expect the average person or a normal person to act. So then I think as the writer you should explain why they are the way they are. Right, if you can have a stock character, if it's easily understandable why they're acting, right? If they act the way a normal person would, or if they fall into a very clear trope, and you understand how they would act, but she does not act in any way that's really that explainable, so you need to write her as more of an actual character so we can understand.
And over the course of it, you can kind of figure it out.
And no.
At least
take
a good guess.
Actual hint
you can take a good guess.
Yeah, but it's like you can fill in imagined backstory to post hoc explain it, or the movie could just actually explain it.
Just to throw my best shot at it, it seems like she probably doesn't have the best home life either. because no one cares that she's gone for like multiple days, or she doesn't seem to care about checking in with anyone. And also, it's evident just from that scene in the bathroom to begin, is that she clearly feels pity for him, which will expand once she actually gets to meet his parents. So it seems like, to some extent, she's afraid at first, and then as she starts to understand how pathetic he is, doesn't really feel the need to run away, and instead seems to want to help him. Is that a fair read?
I think that's fair, but it's like you're just explaining her emotions as they happen.
Yeah.
The question is why. Because the other person, when they get... Because there's a scene after he kidnaps her where he gets out of the car to take a piss. Mm-hmm. Everybody would just drive off. He did not show a gun. He did not show any weapon. Mm-hmm. So you would just drive off. Yeah. If you're going to have a character act completely irrationally, then you should know why they're acting that way.
I agree. I think, if they would have explained by the end, even if they didn't explain it immediately, but then they wait later on and explain it, it would have been much more satisfying.
Yeah, because it's kind of supposed to be like a character examination, but I don't really see what the point of having her in the movie is, unless it's going to be like a dual character examination.
That's fair.
Like, just make a movie about him, and write a script that solely centers him. Don't make a extremely important second lead unless you actually want to write a character drama that is about both characters.
That's fair. It's definitely a flawed movie. I'm glad it exists, though, because it was interesting.
I mean, I don't think it was that good. I like the ending, especially in comparison to other similar movies, which we'll get to. But I think the beginning is funny. The ending is good. But I think overall it's a movie.
Yeah. They get to the parents' house, and this is another very strong part of the movie.
Yeah.
Is that his mother is incredibly obsessed with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
She says that she has never missed watching a game.
Except for the one when he was born. Yeah. Where they lost. Or no, that was the last time they won a championship.
No.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
She said they had won a championship since the day you were born. I missed that day. Yeah. I wish she was never born.
Yeah.
Because she's pretending to be his fiancé to impress the parents.
Yes, so he explains...
And she's talking to her when she says that.
He explains to Layla that she is going to pretend to be his... not fiancé, wife.
Oh, wife, yeah.
Pretend to be his wife to impress his parent, which is just an incredibly funny concept.
Yeah.
And there's an idea, you can kind of tell in her... And like I said, they should have explained this, I agree. Which is, you can see when he's explaining this to her... that, like you said, she has time to escape or whatever, but he's just so sad that the reason he's kidnapping her isn't to, like, he's not a serial killer, he's not a rapist, he's not trying to ransom her or anything. He just needs to impress his family in this, like, really sad sitcom-y, sort of, like, farcical thing. And she's just like, alright. And the name he gives her to say is important. It's Wendy Balsam. I remember the Wendy part. Which is just, it seems strangely specific, and it is. And he explains that they were childhood sweethearts.
No, he doesn't explain that.
No, he does say that. He says that we've been in high school, we've always loved each other. Oh, well,
he says that's their story.
He says that's their story.
Yeah.
And so they show up, the mom is off, she's clearly barely connected to reality.
Yeah.
It's all through the Buffalo Bills is her only reality. And the father is clearly Italian. And also just a shitty dad. We see a flashback in which he kills Billy's dog.
A puppy because it pissed in the house too many times.
Yeah, and it's sort of implied he's creepy throughout this dinner.
He's very creepy to his, like, fake wife.
His fake daughter-in-law, where he sort of feels her up as like, come give daddy a hug.
Daddy loves you. Give me a hug.
And it's later evidence the movie suggests maybe he's clearly probably abusive to the mother.
Considering he gets extremely angrily almost violent, or violent in terms of killing a dog.
Yeah, and probably beat Billy as a kid.
Yeah.
And if you're beating your son, you probably beat your wife.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to kill a dog, you probably have hit a person before.
Yeah. And possibly a molest on,
Yeah.
That's Italian for a molest.
Yeah, well, throughout the movie, he has very weird things about being touched or being seen naked.
Or anything sexual.
Yeah.
And so, even if his dad didn't molest him, probably somebody did. Or, even got raped in prison, which is also possible.
Yeah. Although it seemed like this was more centered on the childhood.
Yeah.
So I would guess it's more that.
Someone touched him.
The prison stuff isn't really centered as the point for this character.
Mm-hmm. And the dinner goes through, and it's incredibly funny. There's a great, to begin it, I will say the filmmaking, just from like how the scenes are constructed, is incredibly strong.
Yeah.
Visually, it looks really nice.
There's a lot of shots I've never really seen before that are cool.
Really inventive. And this is another one, I think, when you talk about Blue Velvet, you said that, like, as a cinematographer, if he wasn't writing the story, Lynch would be, like, damn near perfect at that job. And clearly, Vincent Gallo is both a very good actor and has a good eye for where the camera should be. And so throughout the dinner, it's a square table with 4 seats. And throughout the dinner, it will switch where the camera is looking at 3 people from the perspective of one of them.
But it's always a POV, yeah.
And it makes it really interesting as, like, whenever it's showing the 3, it's those 3 characters interacting and one person is sort of tapped out of the conversation. Mm-hmm. Which also makes a lot of sense, because when you have a family dinner, at some points, not everyone can be talking at once, and there's the thing there. And so she does a damn fine job of pretending to be his wife. Mm-hmm. She dotes on him a little too much. And you can see that the mom is barely tapped into this.
Doesn't really care. Is watching Buffalo Bills.
And the dad is apprehensive.
He's like rolling his eyes the whole time.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know if he knows they're faking it or like, because I think even if Vincent brought his real wife home, he would still not believe it because he just thinks his son is just worth nothing. Yeah. So I don't even know whether he knew it was fake or not, but rather just apprehensive about it. Just because he doesn't think he amounts to anything at all. So any woman walking through the door, kidnapped or not, wouldn't make any sense. Yeah. It reminds me of a episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where he pays a prostitute to ride in his car with him to a baseball game so they can use the carpool lane. Yeah. That's why I said it's like sitcom-y and set up to an extent.
Not really. I mean, it's supposed to give like a tense tone.
Yeah,
it's. I don't really think it's sitcom at all.
No, it's just funny. I mean,
I think the opening is kind of funny, but it's not really.
That's fair.
I think this movie would have been better if it was written as a comedy.
That's fair.
Because that is actually a good idea for a comedy. Mm-hmm. And honestly, the plot could play out exactly as it does. Mm-hmm. But if it was just written intentionally as a comedy, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And so at one point during the dinner, she puts down chocolate donuts for Vincent, and he mentions that he has a chocolate allergy. And his mother is swearing that he always used to love chocolate. And they cut to, there's a really cool thing whenever a flashback is shown, it starts really small and then expands to show the whole screen. Yeah. And it's kind of interesting because it's like, sometimes with the cliche thing is the screen will start rippling and it'll fade into it. And it's an interesting way of like, to me it was almost like visualizing when a thought starts in your head and then expands and takes over your whole thought. Mm-hmm. And so it's him recollecting that he's like deathly allergic and had to go to the hospital.
And the same thing happens about his dad killing his dog as a kid.
Yeah.
The same device is used.
Yeah, and his mother just swears up and down that the allergic reaction never happened. And clearly anything negative from his childhood she's tuned out. Probably anything positive too. Anything that isn't directly related to the Buffalo Bills. She really would pick a winning franchise, honestly. If you're gonna...
Well, I mean, it's the one in their area. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. There's only, like, the Jets and the Giants are in state.
But if you're in Buffalo, if you live in Buffalo...
I guess you'll get stabbed.
If you live in New York, you can take either...
Okay, but what if you pick an NFC team?
I don't... I've never felt that was a legitimate practice. Mm-hmm. You pick one team.
Okay. So, and for you, the team is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And all of
the
his
team is watching something other than the NFL.
And watching him talk about how COVID's fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart guy, Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm. But the dad at one point takes the wife over to his room because he says he used to be a singer. And at first you were like, I don't know if he's written to be Italian. And then he starts mentioning how he sang in a nightclub at the same. He's like, Frank Sinatra, real Frank Sinatra in the real nightclub.
Yeah.
And that immediately put that one to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts talking about how he used to be a singer. He takes her over to his room to play a record for her. And it's creepy.
It's pretty good, though.
Yeah, he is pretty good at singing. It is reminiscent of in Blue Velvet when the one guy lip syncs to Roy Orbison.
Yeah. This movie did make me miss Blue Velvet.
Oh, because it was so weird?
Yeah. Well, because this is what I was saying when we were watching the movie. But I feel like this movie... Now, the ending did take it up a little bit in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But the middle of this is so boring and bad.
Yeah.
But not in... Like, Blue Velvet is a bad movie, but it fucking swings.
Mm-hmm.
There's all sorts of weird, fucking deranged scenes. An important plot point revolves around Groucho Marx glasses. The main character is just completely unlikable and strange.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like he was intentionally written that way.
Yeah.
It's just the most ridiculous movie, and I respect that David Lynch fucking swung on that movie.
So you have a base, like moral value on just going for it?
I would rather watch a fiery car crash than somebody just kind of slowly die.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And it's cliche. I guess that's like why people love The Room, because it's Tommy Wiseau. This is how he thinks humans act.
Because if something is confidently and boldly bad and weird, it becomes interesting in a different way.
And also, no one would, if people weren't bold enough to sometimes fuck up, we'd never have something good.
Yeah.
Like truly perfect.
Yeah.
Because things that are the term kino is thrown around a lot, but something that's like the highest level of like artistically pure and like perfect is that every once in a while, well, not every once in a while, but a lot of times someone pitches that and they're like, hey, that sounds gay, don't do that.
It requires a certain level of like auteurship
mm-hmm.
and being kind of fucking crazy.
Yeah.
To make something, at least a lot of the times.
Yeah.
To make something that's truly amazing artistically.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I always enjoy. There's a interview with Quentin Tarantino, which I think he made you smile, where he goes, "I make hard dick movies. I don't want to be one of these directors in their 70s making 3-hour-long movies that should be 90 minutes. Yeah. I want to retire before I get that way."
Yeah.
I like a guy with a vision.
He calls them erectile dysfunction movies.
Yeah, which is legendary.
That is the best description, though, of like the fucking Irishman,
mm-hmm.
fucking bullshit, Killers of the Flower Moon, 9-hour-long fucking not that good movies that fucking Scorsese is making.
Or Coppola.
Yeah, but Coppola never made anything else.
Yeah, I guess he... Maybe he just has a higher hit rate.
Scorsese used to make Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
And now he makes fucking Killers of the Flower Moon.
I guess that's true.
He used to make movies about a mentally deranged guy driving around in New York
mm-hmm.
that were an hour and a half.
And that was good.
Now he makes movies about organized crime that are 6.5 hours.
And Shutter Island was good, though. That was like
Shutter Island's good, but it's adapting a book, so I don't really
mm-hmm.
count it.
That's fair. So we're at the dinner. He sings, and there's an interesting device they do.
Yeah.
Where the whole screen sort of dims, like a spotlight is placed on him, and I take this to mean throughout, because this will pop up again, is that like the one thing in this world that makes the dad truly happy is that his singing. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of interesting. And I think that's true of really anyone in real life, is that even the most miserable person in the world might have one thing that you put in front of them that's an escape, or the one thing they can feel good of themselves about.
Yeah, and that's used multiple times, but it's not used to say anything.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting to note.
Because later on, the fake wife kidnapped girl
mm-hmm.
tap dances at tap dances and it has the same effect, and the main guy goes bowling, and it reveals that he's like
like the greatest bowler.
Yeah, in their town that they're from, and he won like youth championships as a kid.
Yeah.
And so they don't do the dimmed light when he's bowling, but it's a similar kind of scene.
Well, they do a shot in his face that's dimmed.
Okay. And that, that's an interesting... If they were going to make a point with it, that would be interesting. Mm-hmm. Because they don't, it's just kind of, I guess, a cooler visual device than if the scenes were just normal. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it is... I guess the one thing is, it's like the one time in which they seem like magical or exceptional. Because the characters are all unexceptional people. Because they're real people, right? And it's the one time they can escape that is whenever...
Yeah, but I think you're imagining a movie that actually makes a point. Yeah. Like, you're taking little pieces and trying to connect them, but is there any scene where the movie even thematic, other than just the visual device? Mm-hmm. Is there any real scene, or in the actual plot, does it stress the importance of having, like, a passion or thing you love in life?
That's fair.
That you do? I feel like... Visually, it's telling you, hey, pay attention, I'm making a point within the language of film, but it's not. Mm-hmm.
And so the dinner goes through, they make, what's that fucked up Italian dish? It's like liver or something?
Like tripe or some shit?
Tripe.
Yeah.
However them fucking...
It's like a cow's intestine?
However them fucking
asshole?
However them wops say that.
Wait, whoa!
Whoa,
hey, come on!
Anti-Italian racism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we only make fun of specific groups of white people.
Italians. It's like Minesweeper.
British.
What groups are you going to say?
Yeah.
You hit a bomb.
Yeah.
You say the Jews, that's the bomb.
Yeah.
That's the group of white people you don't make fun of.
British. They have sex with barn animals.
That's true. A lot of people don't know that about... Well... Are sheep barn animals? I think they graze.
Oh, I guess that's fair.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. Well, I think I have seen a sheep in a barn. So maybe they are barn animals.
You know sheep?
Yeah.
Well, I think most animals graze, and then they bring them back in during the night, because you don't want a fucking wolf killing them or whatever.
They got dogs for that.
Have you met a dog that actually did its job?
Sheepdogs. Sheepdogs are cool as fuck.
They are cool as fuck.
Isn't that so embarrassing as a wolf to, like... Your loser fucking brother 10 generations ago decides to get domesticated.
Yeah.
And then his fucking kid 10 years in line fucks up your whole clan.
Oh my god, it's like Get Out for dogs.
Yeah, like the Uncle Tom of wolves just kicks the shit out of you, beats you the fuck up.
Yeah.
That's really embarrassing.
That's insane.
I mean, that does have to be humiliating, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got beat up by the dog?
Well, like, art...
Because, coyotes are just ripping dogs' throats out all the time.
Well, especially because, like...
And you gotta go back to, like, the wolf-coyote convention and get made fun of.
Because, like, we have 3 dogs that are each, like, 80-plus pounds. And, like, the coyote is, like, 40. And they could all fuck them up. One of them is just absolute pussy. One's old. One would definitely rip a coyote to shreds. Yeah. But either of them, any of them would survive a coyote attack.
Yeah.
And it's gotta be sad, because they're all kind of weird. And, like, useless in various ways.
That's what I'm saying. As these animals that diverge, it's got to be very embarrassing.
Anyways, cow intestine.
Yeah.
The Italians eat it. And it gets real uncomfortable. The father starts insisting that the knife is pointed at him.
Yeah.
And tells him to move the knife. And it's, like, crazy paranoia and violence and all of that. I guess, I don't know. It's some sort of cycle of weirdness that's gone through the family. Because it's violent undertones. No explicit violence.
It's called Italian culture. Please
stop
disrespecting it.
Okay. Violent / molestery undertones are Italian culture.
Yes. And I would like you to respect other people's cultures.
Isn't this the super mega, like, book? Where they said if it was about any
book.
Where it said anything. Do you support all of Super Mega's actions?
Yes.
I don't know anything about them.
Yeah, me neither. There was some controversy, but I never paid attention to what it was.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we say some stuff that if it was about any group other than Italians, it's pretty funny. It is good that we have that as a society.
Yeah.
Like, you can't take away all racism and just expect us to be okay with it. You got to leave us a little exhaust valve, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like, you got to have a tailpipe on a car. The engine will explode. If you just keep all of it, you know, in there, it'll explode.
And so for here, you've chosen the people you find the most obnoxious.
Yeah. They
that aren't
argue in
discriminated.
public. They like mob movies.
Mm-hmm.
They insist The Godfather is really good.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I like the first one.
It's okay. It's not bad. It shouldn't be 3 hours.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
I like
There's
Sonny.
some good scenes.
Ending's good because he ostracizes his wife.
Yeah.
Anyways, we've gotten
Which is
things.
relatable for Italians.
What was I gonna say? Oh, so that's served. The knife's pointed at him, and it's all like weird and fucked. And they leave. There's another touchy-feely thing for the dad as they leave.
Oh, come on, come here, baby girl. Oh, I love my baby girl daughter.
It's sort of clear as soon as he walks out the door, his parents are gonna just never not think about him until he turns up again.
The mom goes back to watching TV and the dad just wanders off. And an interesting point, too, is the parents don't talk as soon as he leaves.
Yeah, they don't talk to each other.
It seems like probably their relationship is the dad in the garage drinking and the mom watching the Buffalo Bills.
That Nick Mullen garage dad lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's real progressive that it isn't the dad watching football.
Yeah, that's true. I did think about that. It's a good choice, you know?
Yeah. Because normally it's the dad watching the Packers cryptically drinking, while the mother is like ironing shirts that have already been ironed in the other room, taking like Valium so she can go to sleep at night.
I think you're thinking of the 1950s.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm speaking of whatever decade David Lynch watched television.
Yeah.
You
mean whatever decade David Lynch got molested and set the rest of his movies in?
Yeah. Have you ever heard about the story from his childhood about the naked woman in the woods?
What?
Yeah. It's a story about David Lynch where
he just saw a naked woman in the woods?
He said he was out. This is, you'll immediately understand all of his movies. Is that he was playing out in his backyard in the suburbs where everything's manicured, lawns and all of that. And he sees a like woman. I don't know if she's naked. I think she's naked. Like peer out from the tree line. She looks like scared and shit. And she looks around and then goes back into the tree line. And that basically informed every...
So he just wrote a movie that involved that as a scene.
Yeah. Multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the rest of his career. Every time.
It's interesting.
Yeah. It's an interesting way to process childhood trauma.
Most people would try therapy or alcoholism.
Well, and you know what?
Took a different strategy.
And you know what? Regardless of what you think about him, he's objectively a success. So,
yeah.
Just in terms of money.
I mean, if you think about making good movies, no. But
He seems happy. Making, He seems weirdly happy, actually.
If H.R. Giger is happy, then he's happy.
Well, yeah, H.R. Giger seemed incredibly happy.
Yeah, I guess he was happy. H.R. Giger is happier than him.
Yeah. Because
H.R. Giger's experience that he based everything on is cool.
Yeah, he seems awesome.
Man, H.R. Giger is so cool.
And so they leave and they go to the bowling alley. There's a guy in there who treats Billy as if he's like a legend. Yeah. And this is when it is revealed that he's like an amazing bowler.
Which explains why he's so deranged, is that he's really good at bowling.
Yeah.
Have you ever met a normal person who was good at bowling?
Yeah, I guess our grandfather was really good at bowling.
No, but there's two kinds of people that are good at bowling.
Okay.
There's guys who drink and are in a union, which is our grandfather. Oh. And there's guys who have the glove and wear a polo shirt to the bowling alley.
Well, you didn't specify guys who drink and are in a union are trying to be away from their wives.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was our grandfather.
Yeah. For some reason, they hadn't figured out golf yet. This is what men did before they figured out golf.
Well, golf is...
I think the Native Americans still had the land.
Well, no, I mean...
so we had to stay inside.
Bowling is decidedly more working class.
Yeah, and then we did the Trail of Tears and we could have golf courses.
So
really, it was probably worth it.
So in your first offense, our grandfather lived before the Trail of Tears.
Yeah, in 1962.
Okay, when that took place.
Yeah. And then in 65, they did the Trail of Tears.
Mm-hmm.
And which may be how they put a man on the moon. It may have been.
How did the two correlate?
That's a question for a rocket scientist.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it because all those Nazi scientists we brought over?
That is true. I mean, you had to get him going a little bit, get the blood flowing.
Well,
You know what
Hitler,
I mean?
Hitler based his extermination of the Jews on our treatment of the Native Americans.
That's cool.
Is that what you're on the record saying?
Yeah. I mean, I guess. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Did he give him smallpox blankets?
No.
Damn vaccines.
Yeah.
I do think smallpox blankets was cooler than Zyklon B.
Well, that was the Spanish.
Oh. Well, they're very showy, flashy kind of people. It makes sense with the bullfighting and taking a nap in the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm. So they go in the bowling alley. Seems like the only place he's ever been happy. There's the tap dance, which is to King Crimson's Moonchild. I think that's off Court of the Crimson King. Doesn't matter.
Okay,
this is
Fantana.
We
don't
is
need a fucking song now.
I have it on vinyl.
We don't fucking need.
Right there.
We don't need it. We don't need to know. Okay.
Okay. It's over there. Under.
Fucking guy.
Well, it's true. I do have it.
Okay. That's very, very cool. We're all very impressed with you.
Yeah. Well, Lord knows I'm not doing it to impress women. I'm dating an accounting major, so the kind of things that the bar is low, for excitement.
You show her where you spell hell on a calculator and then turn it upside down.
Yeah. Hell yeah, brother. So importantly though, there's a picture there's a gun in his locker which he grabs out of it in the bowling alley. And prior he had called his friend Goon, who is a seemingly mentally handicapped person, who's just a sweetheart, as they tend to be. Seems like...
what do you mean they?
Mentally handicapped people.
Oh, you're trying to paint them as one big group?
Yeah, I haven't met a mean mentally handicapped person.
I'm imagining taking offense to that. So they can't be dicks, huh?
I'm sure it's possible, but...
There's gotta be one.
Oh,
just a real asshole.
I was just thinking though, have you ever met a mentally handicapped person that wasn't I'm saying not like autistic or something like that, but like Down syndrome or something in there that wasn't just pretty sweet.
Yeah, I don't know if I've really met that many people with Down syndrome.
I just had a gym class where they bring the special ed kids in, and they're always real nice. Point being, he's probably nicer than Billy deserves.
Yeah,
and he's
definitely.
He's asking,
considering the kidnapping.
Yeah, although at this point she's no longer under threat. At this point to the bowling alley, she's just going along with it. And I made we've also entered the negging phase.
Yes,
where she's making fun of him on the drive over, and we're sort of at Jasmine saying she doesn't like Aladdin is where we're at on the scale, which proves that to gaslight women and attract them, all you have to do is be really pathetic. And on a certain percentage of women,
that's the eightfold path, right?
Yeah, I'm somewhat of an expert on what the low quality of fathers in this country
He's actually selling a course. If you guys,
how to attract damaged women.
Yeah.
I don't know how I landed my current woman then. She doesn't seem damaged.
Don't say that. We're trying to pitch your course.
Fuck. I knew what it is. I know what it is. Yeah. But yes. She is starting. It is kind of. It's all very weird, but it's kind of cute.
No.
I think it's kind of cute.
You just have mental illness.
Yeah.
You're a Tumblr woman. That's what you are now. If you think that movie is kind of next, you're going to be drawing fan art of the Onceler fucking also the Onceler.
Whoa.
That's what's going to happen next. And then you're going to be watching that fucking show Supernatural.
Well, those things have to exist in order for there to be an easy supply of goth pussy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's lowering the standards they have for men.
No, it's just making it weirder.
Yeah. And weird guys profit from that.
That's true.
It's, as Henry Zebrowski said, the only reason any sort of occultism exists is to attract goth women. That's the only reason men are into it.
Which makes you wonder why women are into occultism.
Is it just some sort of primal? That's it. This is our Jordan Peterson evolutionary psychology.
That's what I'm thinking about. We're turning into like a men's rights podcast.
No, but it's not even men's rights. It's adjacent, but we're not saying anything negative.
Oh, yeah, we're trying to Jordan Peterson. Women, they have a natural. No, it's too high pitched.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't ever merge Kermit the Frog plus high pitched.
Yeah.
I can either do Kermit the Frog or a high pitched voice.
Just do Kermit.
But yeah, I'd say Andrew Tate. Women have a natural drive to be
magic,
to be witchy.
And I'm not.
Cult.
I support women's rights to be witchy and occult.
Well, you have to.
Or to not be witchy and occult. Women's rights and women's wrongs, as a great man once said.
The pro-choice on that.
Yeah.
Very virulently anti-abortion, however. But
that the views of the host of Avant Garbage.
You better fucking keep the kid. But you can wear a lot of eyeliner if you want. Mm-hmm. That's my stance.
No. You can kill the kid, but you have to do it with your bare hands.
But you have to go to jail afterwards, I think.
No, you just have to do it. You have to look him in the eyes and do it like a man.
That's
as a woman, you have to kill him like a man.
Maybe that can be like a compromise.
Mm-hmm.
We should pitch that to like the pro-life.
It's like pre Roe v. Wade being overturned. In the states, fucked up states like Indiana, they would have places where if you were to get the abortion, they have to give it to you, but they would give you a bunch of literature beforehand and be like, this is what it looks. This is what a dead fetus looks like.
I don't think that's what you're talking. I think there's crisis pregnancy centers.
Yeah.
They don't do abortions. They advertise and imply they do abortions, and then give women an ultrasound and try to show them stuff, and they actually don't do abortions.
But places that do abortions in
I don't think Planned Parenthood does that.
Oh, okay.
It's just that the crisis pregnancy centers advertise like they are Planned Parenthoods.
Yeah.
And then they just show you an ultrasound and tell you about Jesus.
Oh, okay.
Which I support, apparently.
Oh, okay. Once the check clears from...
This is now a Turning Point USA official podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we were trying to entice them with the anti-Italian racism. You get them on the hook.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to do full racism unless we're getting paid.
So they go to... This is no point has been about Buffalo 66. They go to a diner, and it takes a, quite frankly, criminal amount of time for her to get hot chocolate, Layla. And so another...
it's a Denny's.
Yeah, it is a Denny's. They do show it's a Denny's, which proves that nothing good happens in or outside of Denny's.
I don't know if I've ever actually been to a Denny's.
You gonna go to a Denny's?
Not really.
You want to fight in the parking lot?
Sure. I've been to an IHOP, and I think that's as close as going to Denny's that I want to get.
All right. What about Waffle House?
I'd go to people always talk. I think that's a hipster thing. You ever notice that?
What?
Everybody started talking about Waffle House 5 years ago.
No.
Whatever.
I think the amount of Waffle House has been the same.
No, everybody started talking about Waffle House this, Waffle House that. You know.
What's the deal with everybody talking about Waffle House? In the diner, it's pretty. He has told her that the name Wendy was a girlfriend of his.
No, he didn't.
He didn't. Okay. So the actual...
She saw a picture
in
his bowling locker.
The actual Wendy shows up with her fiance, and basically reveals that he barely knew her
and kind of stalked her.
And
it's unclear whether she was really aware that he was stalking her, but he was. And
she just sees cripplingly... She tries to talk him up, he doesn't need her, all that. And she does seem a little weird. But maybe just everyone in Buffalo is a little off.
I think so.
I mean, the only guy I can think of from Buffalo is Daniel Garcia, and he's pretty cool, but I don't know. To become an indie wrestler, you have to be.
They made wings. Buffalo wings are cool.
Yeah, those are cool.
So I guess the idea was just to put butter in hot sauce.
Yeah.
It's really surprising the Midwest didn't think of that.
Yeah.
We kind of got embarrassed on that one.
We did. But he leaves to go take a piss, finds out he can't take a piss in the gas station,
Has to go back.
Has to go back, and he reconciles with her, at least for now.
Possibly just to be able to use the bathroom.
Possibly, which is, how I make all my decisions. And so they go back to a motel, and there is the scene that is, I find sweet, is that he goes to the bathroom to go take a bath because he thinks he'll feel better in the motel. And he does reveal to her that he basically
Oh, and by the way, revealed like 30 minutes ago, he got in prison because he got indebted to a bookie.
Yeah.
Because he bet $10,000 in the Buffalo Bills. Yeah. And couldn't pay it. Mm-hmm. And so the guy, as the deal worked out, had him go to prison for a crime his buddy did, so to cancel a debt. And he's now planning to kill the kicker
who missed the field goal.
Who missed the field goal that caused him to lose the bet.
Yeah, and that's part of the thing is he wanted to have dinner with his parents, set up a thing of mailing them pictures.
Basically, he was trying to do the incel fantasy of you become cool and then the woman who didn't care about you likes you and then you don't want them. Yeah. Where he's trying to get his parents to like him so he can kill himself.
The only person who's ever achieved it was Ted Bundy.
Yeah, that's true. He did achieve it. But was he ever an incel?
No, I think.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay. He did do that. He just wasn't an incel.
Yeah.
But he's basically trying to do that move with his parents.
Yeah. Where
he convinces them to care about them and like him just in time to do a murder-suicide against them.
Yeah, so that people will be sad.
Yeah.
And it's a... I don't know if that's not that specific thought, but I don't know if that's... Sometimes when you feel bad about yourself, you imagine, killing yourself.
Murder-suiciding the kicker of your favorite NFL team.
But you imagine people feeling sorry for you after you're gone.
I've never had that thought before.
Okay. But, sometimes just suicidal ideation. I think most people have, aside from our mother, who claims they've never, ever had any remotely suicidal thought. Which I don't believe her. She also says that she's never woken up not on time.
Never missed an alarm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our mother has said a lot of lies in her life.
Uh-huh.
Namely that she loves me.
Fuck that bitch.
Namely that whoa, that's my mother there.
That's my fucking mother you're talking about.
That's my mother.
Hey. Whoa.
But the thing I think is sweet is that he goes and he doesn't want her to join in the bathroom with him. And
because his hog is simply too big.
It's too big. And this, like I said, he clearly doesn't like people seeing him naked or anything remotely sexual or anything like that. So that's the implied trauma. And she slowly worms her way in, and there is a cut that's really funny.
Yeah.
Where she comes in and sits down, and he tells her she can come in, but she can't look at him. And then she looks at him. And then she asks to get in the bath, and he's like, whoa, first I told you you couldn't come in. Yeah. Then I told you couldn't look at me.
You're going to keep pushing until you're in the bath, and then it cuts to her in the bath.
In the bath with him. And I think that's sweet.
That was funny, yeah.
You didn't find that heartwarming?
No.
Wow. No empathy. You can't empathize with a guy who's gonna do a murder-suicide.
Yeah. Yeah. Having a heartwarming moment where you allow the woman you kidnapped to take a bath with you while you're waiting for it to be 2 a.m. so you can go murder-suicide.
Hey, now she's doing it willingly.
A guy. Yeah.
And you can't really call it fully Stockholm Syndrome because she could have left it as soon as she drove off.
Yeah.
She had 5 minutes in which she couldn't leave.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's just hanging out because
then she did have an opportunity to run, but he probably would have caught her if she ran right at the start.
Yeah, but after 10 minutes she could have gone.
Yeah.
And we pointed out that if you look up a picture of Vincent Gallo, he's exactly the kind of man who looks kind of janky, which is that some small but vocal minority of women would find him attractive.
He's the kind of guy that you would never think about being attractive, and then you'd see a tweet from some random woman saying he's the hottest man alive.
And we compared, Matt Smith, Benedict Cumberbatch Roof, that sort of very weird face. It's always weird angular faces.
Yeah, women really like angles.
Yeah.
We're teaching you guys about women. Here's your 2 free tips: is they love occultism and angles.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to
get a protractor and put some like stickers on it that are like skulls.
Mm-hmm. Some sort of Mothman themed coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And a compass, you know.
Somewhere around here, I have a stuffed Mothman.
Mm.
Tail comes running, I tells ya. And anyways, I think the scene is sweet. And they actually appear to have some sort of like moment of humanity, and they go to the bed, and he is initially sitting as far as away from her as he can in the bed. She reaches out her hand, he holds her hand. It's like the first like touch he's like accepted in any sort of affectionate way, and they do share a kiss.
Yeah, so this is where I think her not really being a character really hurts the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't care about this scene. There's no real reason to spark his growth. I feel like they didn't really show that. Which isn't entirely necessary. But if you're not going to have that, you need to establish her as a character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does that moment mean? It doesn't really mean much. Like, later, when he actually decides... Later on, there's a pivotal moment.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's kind of explained.
Yeah.
His moment of realization. But why did he do what he did in that moment? I don't really know. So you're not really learning anything about either character.
Mm-hmm.
So this scene is kind of useless as far as the movie goes. It gives him a plot reason to do something he does later.
Mm-hmm.
But character-wise and story-wise, thematically, I don't think it really makes any sense or is set up well.
That's fair. And they share their sweet moment, and then he gets up to go without explaining.
To go kill.
Yeah, to go. And she doesn't know that.
And
plan.
he lies and says he's going to eat a coffee.
And she asks,
like, I feel like you're not going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Please come back. I love you.
And she says to get her the hot chocolate that never got to her at that Denny's after, like, they had to have been there for, like, 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And they couldn't even bring her her hot chocolate, which is, upsetting. Because there weren't that many people at the Denny's.
It's a Denny's.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think it takes to eat shit in Denny's? Hour and a half for water.
Denny's are only for arguing with your wife. And then fighting in the parking lot.
Yeah, I think that... Yeah, that's probably what Denny's are for.
Yeah. It's like how old-timey music, like 50s when it was like... Ba ba da 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 da, like in the... Like, when everything was, like, doo-woppy and, like, happy. That was records to put on to drown out the sounds of you beating your wife. That's the only reason that...
Back when this is a real country and there wasn't no-fault divorce.
Because that's the only reason you have, like, those crooners, right? Where it's like,
yeah.
What am I saying? That's life, you know.
Well, that song was actually pretty good.
I like that. I like that song. No, but that's what happens when you
hit the shit out of your wife.
Yeah.
Throw a couple of 1-2s.
Mm-hmm.
Body hooks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think Denny's are for pre-gaming your divorce.
Okay.
It's like the tailgate for getting divorced.
That makes sense. And that he walks out, and he has his gun. He calls his friend, who, by the way, no longer asked to be Goon. He wants to be Rocky.
Yeah.
And Rocky, don't dead name him.
I think Goon's a cool name.
It is a cool name. Don't dead name Rocky.
Although they ruined it now with all the guys masturbating. You know?
Yeah. You had to explain that to me. It was traumatic.
You can't even think about the Goonies anymore without imagining, Actually, what is even the Goonies?
It's a bunch of kids find pirate treasure.
You can't even imagine. You can't even not think about the pirate from SpongeBob masturbating. You think about the Goonies.
All right, now
you think about all the pictures that you have on your phone.
The Flying Dutchman.
The Flying Dutchman masturbating.
Mm-hmm.
What were we talking about?
He goes to and he tells Rocky, his mentally handicapped friend, to have his stuff. And Rocky, honestly, like we said, is a way better friend than he deserves. He's
probably the smartest character in the movie.
He picks up immediately that he's gonna go do something
doing like
horrible.
a suicide. I'm gonna give you my stuff because
he
either plans on going. Like Rocky figures out he either plans on going to prison or dying.
Yeah, and dying is his intention. And so we see him. He walks into the business, which is a strip club that's owned by this kicker, his former kicker. Mm-hmm. And it's the only time music is fully used in the movie, and it's pretty awesome. It does feel very...
They have music during the montage of the beginning showing his time in prison.
but like prominently in a scene that's taking place presently.
Yeah.
And it's pretty. It does feel very like Taxi Driver or like the final scene of Apocalypse Now
Or Good Time.
Or Good Time. Just of that claustrophobic moment where the shit finally happens, and there's also there's no sound within that isn't the song.
Yeah.
And he goes
what
up.
song is it? Album and track name, please.
I don't know that. And he goes, and we see him shoot the owner in the head, and then himself.
And there's a very funny, like, they do like a freeze frame.
Yeah,
The
like
face
slow-mo.
he's making when he shot himself is so funny. This is a good tip for you. Find that frame from the movie, screenshot it, use it as a reaction image whenever you get minorly annoyed by something, because it's funny.
And then tag at Avant Garbage, which does not exist.
Yeah, Twitter, that picture at Avant Garbage, or just French people.
Yeah.
Just tweet the president of France with that
Emmanuel
picture
Macron, who got groomed.
and threaten him.
Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got groomed. That's fucked up.
Does that make you more or less likely to vote for him?
Less.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Good point.
Is he the victim?
Well, do I want a president that's a sucker? Shouldn't he
How
use...
old was he when he got groomed?
I think like teenage.
It's not really. Can you call him a sucker?
Well, I mean, now shouldn't he use his male privilege to, rise above that?
I feel like you're turning into a Slate BuzzFeed feminist.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was trying to get, but then they do it's another great scene. Is they do a flash forward to
his parents at his funeral.
And
she's listening to a radio broadcast of the Bills, his mom,
mm-hmm.
and then the dad is just like, "I'm hungry. Can we go home?"
Yeah, he's cold and he's hungry.
So the point is, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and so we cut back, and that's all been a dream sequence.
Not necessarily a dream, like the Green Knight.
Yeah.
Where he imagines what would happen.
Yeah. And by the way, Green Knight, voiced by Ralph Ineson, who's the infield guy. That guy's got a great voice.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah. More #justice for Dagmar Cleftjaw.
Yeah.
And so it's the turning point, and this is why I like this, is that he, from that dinner with his parents and her sort of, I think also it's important that he brought an outside observer to see how fucked up his family is.
Yeah.
Because it feels so natural to him that it's so fucked up, but her reactions of seeing how fucked up it is, I think was part of, he probably would have figured out on his own that they wouldn't give a shit about him if he killed himself.
Mm-hmm.
But it sort of helps.
Yeah.
And so he realizes that it isn't worth throwing his life away because they won't care about him at all. And he goes back, he buys a heart cookie for her.
He goes to get the hot chocolate.
Goes to the hot chocolate, gets a heart cookie. He buys a heart cookie for another guy in the shop who says he has a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sweet.
Yeah.
And he goes back, and assumably they have a happy ending. And what I was...
Realistically, when he stops being crazy, she's not attracted to him anymore.
Yeah.
And they have a breakup.
Yeah.
And he decides to go through with it.
But, I don't know, I liked it because I think we were talking about, you were talking about your problems with the movie. I want to talk about the ending.
I think the ending is good because I think a lot of these kind of movies just end like... You know, a thing that I talk about a lot when I'm evaluating a movie is like, I think your ending, at least I think this is one of the best ways to use an ending, is to give an answer to the question that you're trying to pose. If you have a theme,
mm-hmm.
or in this case a character study, give your answer, right? Like if you're pointing out a problem with your story, then give your answer. And I think a lot of these kind of like, in the cell, let's see an image of a broken person, just kind of end with the person being as broken or more broken.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily objectively a bad choice.
Like in Taxi Driver, it's done for a point because he does something good for a bad reason, and society just hails him as that, mm-hmm. and that's the point.
And that's the point of the movie, right? Yeah. But this one is a pure character study on this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they end with him... realizing it specifically because somebody kind of took the time to empathize with him,
Mm-hmm.
I think is a good. It's an actually good ending in terms of thematically to that kind of character.
And it's a good message. Because realistically, only weird art film people are watching this movie.
Yeah.
And some of those who are incels
Some
who are
of
going
those guys were about to go kill someone.
Well, I'm sort of joking, but it's like...
Yeah,
But it's
I
like,
know.
this is made, like... Nerds tend to be pretty mentally ill, and having nerd things with positive messages, I think, is valuable in some way. And I just like that, like you said, it's not just wallowing in the self-pity of how... Because being sad is cathartic. And, you know, the reason people have those suicidal fantasies is because in some way it's cathartic. Not in a good way,
Well,
but...
I think for him it's clearly that he imagines he can gain
Yeah.
what he doesn't have, which is the love of his parents.
Yeah, exactly.
Through dying.
And my point is that it's
And
cathartic.
also, in a sense, punish them for not
Yeah.
loving him.
By
And that, what I was referring to earlier,
Yeah.
saying he has the incel fantasy
Yeah.
of like, once I don't want you, you'll realize what you missed out on, sort of thing.
Yeah, but by cathartic, I don't necessarily mean good, but like it resolves.
Well,
like the resolution.
he thinks it'll fix him.
It thinks
to do
it'll
that.
give a point to everything that happened.
And he
it won't-
realizes it wouldn't.
Yeah, it won't. Doing something fucked up.
He
won't-
would just be dead, and everything else would be the same.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, yeah, I guess it's sort of, it puts, I guess, sort of a difference on like I guess maybe there's no such thing as a noble, like a noble death that redeems a shitty life completely, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you like died to stop the Holocaust,
Yeah.
and you killed like 6 people, and
Yeah.
you died to stop. I feel like that's a pretty good.
No, you
The
get what
scales are getting
you
pretty
get
good.
what I'm saying though, because also this isn't even a good thing. It's what he thinks. is
Yeah,
good.
I don't really think that makes
Yeah,
sense
yeah.
though. It's not
So,
a noble death.
I'm trying to rephrase it, but like one Hail Mary right at the end typically won't fix you.
But he's trying to control something he can't control,
yeah, which is
love from his parents,
Mhm.
and he just decides to focus on what he can control
Mhm.
in a person who does actually love him,
Mhm.
versus chasing after what he can't have.
And I like that
Yeah, no, I think it's a good ending, and I think it fits. It's good.
because I don't think you've said on the podcast before. I want you to give your water ending rant about is that what?
About Silent Hill.
Yeah, I want you. You can tie it back to this film, but I want you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my point about the Silent Hill and why I
Which
just,
Silent Hill?
Silent Hill 2,
Okay.
the only Silent Hill game.
Okay.
And if you're some sort of hipster fuck who's like, actually Silent Hill 1 is better,
Mm-hmm.
you should kill yourself.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, it just must happen.
Okay.
Anyways, so Silent Hill 2 has multiple endings.
Mm-hmm.
And the only 2 that are actually like real endings to the story, because one's just weird, and then one's like a fun collectathon extra eldritch ending. If you get all the weird collectible items, then there's a joke ending.
Mhm.
But the 2 real endings are, so there's this character, he killed his wife, he cheated on her while she was dying of cancer,
Mhm.
he put her out of his misery, but also
Like a real man.
well, he snuffed her out with a pillow,
Yeah.
but also did probably want to kill her just because he felt she was a burden on him.
Yeah.
And so he has a ton of guilt and he feels bad. And
Probably
there's-
should.
Yeah, there's 2 endings. In one, he decides to move on and help and raise a kid who was close with his wife before she died in like the facility she was in.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, he decides to kill himself.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, oh, the fucking one where he kills himself is better because it's so sad.
Yeah, sadness
But
isn't deep, you asshole.
it pisses me off because basically the point is Silent Hill 2 is a game about guilt
Mm-hmm.
and, like somebody being haunted by that and trying to confront it.
Mm-hmm.
And if so the ending of that game is your answer to that question.
Yeah.
How do people deal with guilt? What effect does it have on people?
Yeah.
So if your answer is, when people are guilty and haunted by that, they should just kill themselves.
Yeah.
Because it's unrealistic for people to cope with having an issue in life. You should just kill yourself right now. Okay? Because the ending is better. The fucking, I think it's the Leave ending.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking better.
Yeah.
It's fucking better because it it actually says something. It says that people can overcome struggles in their life, which is true. It's not unrealistic for people to have good lives and overcome things.
Mm-hmm. And I was going to say, relating that back to the movie, I think is that what you appreciate about the ending?
Yeah. And I think there are plenty of, like, I kind of refer to, like, the incel genre, right? I think there are plenty of great movies that have the sad version of this ending, but I think that some people, like...
think it has to be that way?
Yeah, they think it has to be that way, and I think this is for the way the movie was telling a story, this is a perfect ending.
Yeah.
It's a bad movie overall, I would say, mid. I don't know, 7 out of 10, 70 out of 100, C. But it's C minus, I guess that would be. But it's a pretty good...
It's a B for me.
It's a good ending. I think it's a perfect ending for the characters they set up.
Because at the end, I don't want him to kill himself. Like, you know, like, he's weird and pathetic, and maybe in the beginning you're like, society could do without this guy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's...
Well, actually, for me, I didn't really care, but the ending made him likable.
Yeah. I want him to not die.
Yeah. So I think it's good. I think it basically, you set up this character and you actually give your real answer to that character as an artist.
Because I guess...
And I like that.
Who are you if your message is that we should kill ourselves instead of coping with...
That's my point. It's like, just kill yourself instead of making the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is my rant about Silent Hill 2.
And it's a whole separate thing, but how the rebuilds of Ava end versus the original series, it's that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
You have anything else you want to say about Buffalo 66?
No, I think that's it. Anything else?
I just want to say once again, great performance by Vincent Gallo.
Yeah.
He's like really fucking good.
I was a little worried when I heard it was written, directed, and acted by the same guy, but if you hadn't have told me that, he would not have... yes, it was a good performance even.
Yeah. Like, there's like 3 times it's worked out well on an independent film, especially. The Creep,
Creep is such a good film.
Yeah.
We're gonna do that soon.
Yeah. Those might be the only 2 times it's worked out well.
Yeah.
It's because it's not just a monument to his ego.
Mm-hmm.
And I just also appreciate that he wrote himself in to have a giant dick. However,
that is so funny.
He did write himself in to be incredibly fucked up. And he's not supposed to be cool.
I'll take that fucking plea bargain. I'll have gotten molested if I can have a huge hole.
No, but my point is...
if I can have a disturbingly large penis, I'll get molested.
My point is just in no way is his character supposed to be cool. We're not supposed to be like, wow, it is awesome that he's...
There's that issue with, like, American History X and shit, where it's a good satire, but it also comes off as cool to the wrong audience. Yeah. Like, it's a good enough satire that a normal person can watch it and go, wow. But a Nazi can watch it and be like, yeah, that's my ideology.
But then, it's harder for a Nazi to identify with it if you do have an ending.
That's my point. That's the point. As I think people have said, while those movies are great, there's some sense of a failure if you make a satire that can be read as unironic or uncritical to somebody who holds that. I think that people have said it's better to, like, mock that kind of with a satire and ideology than to portray it as, like, threatening or scary because of that kind of effect. And I think another great way to tell a story about in a sense a terrible person without glorifying
maybe
it.
A broken person.
Yeah. But I think, like, the actions at the beginning of the movie. Yeah. Without glorifying it is to give an ending that actually shows them overcoming the things that make them a very flawed, broken person.
Yeah, I think this movie, if you were to give it like another go, because the filmmaking is good, I think if you explored the actual Layla, the character, I think there's a chance for like a really, really good movie. Yeah,
so that was the thing that annoyed me, is I assume, because the setup, I feel like this begs to be a double character study, where it's like, oh, it turns out she plays along with it weirdly, and then you find out she's also broken in her own way. And then in some way they connect over that, and you give more of a fleshed out reason for them to end up saying they love each other so quickly.
Yeah, so this is an hour 50. shave off some of the runtime and then put it back into, because it's a good length for a movie.
Yeah.
Shave off some of the runtime and give Layla like at least one flashback.
Yeah. And then just slightly alter the scene where they connect to it being about how they both have issues and comforting each other.
Yeah. So it's like a few tweaks away from being like a great movie.
But I think those really hurt it.
It really does. And that's why, like I said...
It really drags in the middle.
Remake it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I do think this is a movie it has a good basic concept. There's also, this could be written as a pure comedy. Mm-hmm. I can see it being, if you lean in more to the main character being pathetic, and I imagine like George Costanza doing this. Yeah. Like kidnapping a woman to get her to pretend to be his fiancée or wife. That would be funny. Mm-hmm. Is that everything?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. In conclusion, don't kill yourself. Play Silent Hill, too.
And then don't get in water and they will all come fucking kill you.
Okay. So we're pro-homicide, anti-suicide, pro-Silent Hill 2. Yeah. But that specific ending, the Leave ending.
Yeah.
All right. We'll probably be coming back to you never. But if we do, it'll be Creep.
Hold on. One last thing. I want to give another thank you to our sponsors at Turning Point USA. Mm-hmm. And they want you to know that if you want to make real political change, write your congressman. Tell them, pass a bill that bans women from using public bathrooms. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Just all women. Not...
Yeah, no more... Yeah, women shouldn't be able to... Bathrooms are for the boys. That's what the bill is called.
You gotta high-five me so it picks up on the mic.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Bathrooms for the fellas. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Charlie Kirk, for paying us to make...
You and your small face.
Make our transgressive alt-right movie review show.
Oh, all right. Peace.